Hello friends, and welcome back to this series to create a chat app using FlutterFlow and Supabase. In this 11th part of the series, we'll be working on the create contact component over here. So first and foremost, since the create contact component uses the same search for members functionality as the create group component, what we can do is that we can just delete this old create contact component for now, and we'll duplicate our create group chat component. Firstly, let's just change the name. Then let's change the title. Now let's remove the circle image, the group name, as well as the group description. And also, finally, let's change this create group button text. Okay, you can see that there are some errors over here. Firstly, let's click on this bottom sheet action error. And we'll search for select component and we'll choose the create contact component. Now let's go back to our create group component, or our create contact component. And the create contact component is a little different from the create group component in the search members list view over here, since we only want to allow the users to select one member over here. So instead of selecting multiple checkboxes over here, we only want the user to be able to select one checkbox. However, to do that, the checkbox widget is not really ideal, since we are unable to update the checkbox state locally within our app itself. So instead of a checkbox, we want to delete the checkbox, and inside the row, instead, we want to add a conditional builder. And inside the if, we want to add an icon. And inside the else statement, we want to add another icon. So for the else statement icon, the icon will be a circle. And for the if statement icon, the icon will be a check. This check circle over here. And this icon color can be of primary type color. So, and as for the condition, firstly, we have to go to our create contact component, and we have to add a new component state variable. And this component state variable will be the selected UID with a type of string, and it can be nullable. So now we go back to our conditional builder, and for this condition, we have to first go to our create contact component, and we have to add a new field, and this field will be the selected user data. For the type, it will be of type JSON, and it won't be a list since we only want one user data. So we click on confirm, and now we can go under the conditional builder, and for the condition, we will set the condition to be a single condition, and we'll check if our component state selected user data is equal to our searched users item, and no further changes. So basically what this does is that if the selected user is the one that we have selected, then it will show a tick. Else, for all other users that are not selected, it will show this empty circle icon over here. Now what we must do is that we have to set and update our selected user data component state. So we first go to the selected icon, and we add an action. So every time the user unselects the user, we'll set the component state, update the component state, and we'll just reset this value to a value of null, so that now no user is selected. Next, we go to the else icon, the empty unselected icon, and whenever the user taps on the unselected icon and selects a new user, we want to update component state, and we want to update the selected user data component state variable, and we want to set this value to be our searched users item. So we click on confirm. And now the last thing that we have to do is that we have to deal with our inserting of our row into Supabase. So we open the action flow editor, and you can see that there are 4 errors over here, which is due to the inserting of our row into database not working properly. And that is because if we look at the chat name, there is the unknown value over here. So for our chat name, we no longer want to allow the user to be able to enter their own chat name, but instead this chat name will be the selected user's name. And this chat description will be the selected user's bio, the chat image will be the selected user's profile image. So for the value over here, it will be the component state selected user data, and it will be the JSON path of .name. And this JSON path, I got it from our Supabase table, the name of the column over here. Click on confirm. And now for the chat description, we'll set the value to be our component state selected user data, JSON path, and now this is .bio, which is the same column name as the one here. Now for the chat image, it'll be once again component state selected user data, JSON path, and it'll be .profile image, profile underscore image underscore path. And lastly, for the chat members, for the first authenticated user's ID, UID, for the first UID argument, it'll be the same, but for this, it'll no longer be a list. And now for this value, it will be our component state selected user data, JSON path, and it'll be .uid. So we click on confirm, and let's just change this by adding 2 square brackets covering the chat member UID argument. We can check for errors now, and there should be no errors. So that is it. All the errors are solved now. Now let's try creating a new contact. Alright, so Testman has just loaded up. We can try creating a new contact over here. Let's search for members, and let's try adding this test contact. Now if we add the test contact, we can see that we're now in the chat page, and if we check out our chats over here, we notice that a new row has been added over here, which is a chat room with the chat name of test and testing, which is the user that we have just added to a new chat. Let's try out one more thing. Let's just try creating a new contact once more, and this time we'll search for to, which should return both of these users, test and FlutterFlow. So you can see that there's test and FlutterFlow over here. If we select one, test is now checked, but if we select FlutterFlow, test is no longer checked and only FlutterFlow is checked now. If we try to uncheck FlutterFlow, we can see that none are selected now. So let's just try checking FlutterFlow, and we add the FlutterFlow contact. You can see that we are navigated to the page, the chat page over here, and if we go to our Supabase dashboard, we can see that under the chats table, a new row has been inserted with the contact of FlutterFlow. Oh, and one more thing that I realized was that if none of these contacts are checked or selected, if the user has not selected any user at all, then we want to add an informational dialog to alert the user. So what we can do is we can go to our add contact button, open the action flow editor, and now let's add a new condition action. We'll just close that for now, and let's move this condition up. So for this condition, we'll check a single condition, and we'll check if our component state of selected user data is set. That means it is not empty. So if our selected user data is not empty, then we'll proceed to insert the row into Supabase and then navigate to the chat page. So we'll cut this action chain and we'll paste this action chain over here. However, if the selected user data is empty, then what we want to do is we want to open an information alert dialog. So informational dialog. So for this title, we'll say no user selected. And for the message, we'll type in please select a user to add. Yep, and that's it. So we can close this. And now let's try reloading our test mode one last time. Let's try creating a contact again. And now if we don't check any of these and we try to add the contact, you can see that a pop-up over here says that no user selected. So it declines us from creating a chat with only ourselves. Alright, so that's it for today's video. In the next video, we'll be working on the chat page over here. So we'll be working on this chat page over here and working on passing the arguments from our create chat page into this chat page over here. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.